This video contains spoilers for Invincible Season 1 and the first half of Season 2. You have been warned. So Netflix just dropped the first 4 episodes of the second season of their superhero comic book adaptation show. Sorry, I had to. It is now going on a mid-season hiatus, and so far it has been a blast returning to this series after the excellent first season it had back in early 2021. So far, Season 2 has been pretty good for the most part, and even seems to be rectifying some of the problems that fans pointed out in Season 1. Side note, I find it funny how many people complained about how terribly Amber was written as a character in Season 1, and in Season 2, the first scene with her shows her giving Mark a pep talk and genuinely trying to make him feel better.
You stopped your dad and saved the planet, and it almost killed you. You don't owe anyone anything.
Excellent improvement here. Although, I will say that Mark leading with the Thraxans in Episode 3 was really forced. They should have at least given that some more time to make it seem a little bit less rushed. It seems like they really wanted to get to that mid-season stinger as quickly as possible, no matter what. Ultimately, though, I will preface that Invincible Season 1 and 2, and even that one Adam Eve special, are all really good, and I would recommend them to anyone who is interested. Just get ready for some really, really ultra-violent gore. However, there is one scene in the season that I have many different issues with, and this is not just some weird line or some strange moment that doesn't really mean anything. This scene is extremely pivotal to where the series goes from here, and heavily affects certain characters and their relationships. In addition, the scene is extremely forced and is out of character for multiple characters, and has many plot holes and inconsistencies. The scene I am describing is none other than the explosion of Angstrom Levy's machine at the end of the first episode of Season 2. Before I rip this scene to shreds, I'm just going to quickly describe all the context just so I can more accurately dissect everything that's wrong with it. It starts with Cecil finally allowing Mark to go back into the superhero field, which Mark was asking for the whole episode. The Maulers have finally finished working on the machine that Angstrom Levy has asked them to make, a sematic encoder. This will convert all of the knowledge and memories of every Angstrom into the main one that can travel through different dimensions. He wants to do this so that he can make each universe better with the help of advancements other dimensions possess. I will go into more detail about this plan later, but that is the gist for now. Before they fire up the machine, the Maulers make it clear that stopping the machine while it's working would result in terrible consequences for both Angstrom, the machine, and the surrounding area. Unbeknownst to them, Mark is approaching the building with orders from Cecil to stop the Maulers and bring them in, no matter what. As such, Mark enters the building while the machine is active. Things escalate, and this ultimately leads to the machine exploding, and all the Maulers and Angstroms getting incinerated. And Mark ends up feeling even worse for failing the mission and taking a huge beating. Now, let me get into all the problems I have with this scene. Specifically, let me rant about how stupid this line is.
Hey, shut it down, or I take it down.
Make us.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Why do the Maulers deliberately try to escalate the situation? Why? How does this help them? To put it in their own words,
What's in it for us?
I can't get over how dumb this is. Where do I begin? How about this? Why aren't they trying to talk their way out of this? It means less conflict for them and a higher chance of success. This is basic stuff. They could instead try to, I don't know, explain that if they turn the machine off, it will explode. Or how about explaining what it'll actually do? They clearly heard that Mark was confused about what it does. I'm sure he could have misconstrued this as being a harmful or dangerous machine, and telling him that it isn't would probably make him more passive. Another problem I have with this is that it's completely out of character for the Maulers. Starting a fight with Invincible goes completely against their motivations, since they want to get the universe they asked Levy for. And this conflict only serves to make that goal less possible. Even if they were confident they could beat Mark on their own, they should be attempting to stall Mark from attacking as long as possible, since the end goal of this mission will be what they want most. Now, I'm sure one could argue that Invincible would try to bring the Maulers in. I mean, they are escaped convicts after all. However, even still, delaying the fight until the machine stops would have been the more preferable outcome, especially since the Maulers had no way of knowing the Guardians were on their way. I'm sure someone else could argue that the Maulers are impulsive and this is in character since they would want to beat up Mark. However, this completely ignores that the Maulers are smart enough not to try things against their own goal. In Season 1, they clearly did not trust Robot, and yet they still tried to save him when his mind was causing the machine to overheat, since they knew helping him would still be preferable to letting him die. The same basic principle should apply here too. But the Maulers are not the only ones at fault here. I have to also point some blame at Angstrom, because he was just as incompetent as the Maulers were here. It is clear that Angstrom can still talk while the machine is working. He tells Mark that he needs to stop this fighting since...
This is for the greater good!
This is a very stupid thing to say. Let's try some better things that will make the situation a little bit clearer for him. He could instead say, Invincible, if the machine is shut off now, I and all these people will die. Or maybe he could say, Invincible, the Maulers aren't doing anything nefarious. They just want to help me save these people. Or hell, he could even lay out the whole situation to Mark if he has the time. He theoretically doesn't even need to use words to defuse the situation. He could just use portals to teleport Mark out of there, like he did with the version of him from the dimension at the beginning of the episode. Since, once again, it is made clear he can open up portals while in the machine. What he instead does is he brings in more Maulers to help stop Mark. Does this imply he dropped all of these guys in the break room dimension and said, hey, I might just portal you all over here because I need some bodyguards, so, just be ready for that. But let's actually dissect why this is a stupid plan. The Maulers specialize in putting the minds of one into the minds of others. I get that. They are specifically useful to this specific plan that he's trying to do. However, when he realizes that 2 Maulers from this universe will not be enough to stop Mark, he brings in many others from other universes. However, again, I need to question why. If Angstrom can travel to any universe and recruit anyone he wants to help him, why recruit Maulers as henchmen? He clearly already knows that they are unpredictable and unreliable. Is there nobody else he could have used for a bodyguard? Are there no alternate reality superheroes that would have been on board with this plan? Like an alternate Eve, the Guardians, or even another Invincible? I find that impossible since Angstrom points out that
there's an infinite number of dimensions.
So again, why hire these dangerous lunatics as your muscle when you have an infinite number of safer and likely better options? I also want to point out that since there are an infinite number of dimensions, this plan would ultimately be fruitless. There will always be an infinitely many more universes that Angstrom will never be able to help. But I guess helping out like 1,000 universes out of infinity is noble enough, so I won't criticize him for that much, I guess. Alright, I'm done picking on Angstrom. For now. What else is there left to talk about here? Well, how about I get a dissenting opinion on this? Let's see if there's someone else who has something to add here. Lumo Shroom, great YouTube channel by the way, says, I appreciated how Mark burst in and was caught off guard, like he was genuinely confused about how to describe the situation to Cecil. Made me chuckle. You know what? That's actually a good point. If there is anything I can praise wholeheartedly about this scene, it is Mark's dialogue when entering the building. He is extremely in character and his lines are actually funny.
Spit it out, kid.
Okay, there's like a giant mechanical Christmas tree with like a bunch of the same guy sitting on it.
Okay, that's enough positives. I haven't filled my criticism quota yet. There are a few final things I need to discuss here. I want to just quickly mention the aftermath and the mid-credit scene of this episode, since they both have extra problems to this. First, I'm gonna go out of order and talk about the mid-credit scene. This shows that one of the Maulers survived the explosion. It also shows that the main Angstrom also survived the explosion. Now, I'm gonna just put aside how contrived it is that the only 2 survivors are the ones that are plot relevant, and instead ask, how the hell did Angstrom survive this? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but isn't Angstrom a normal man with portal powers? Like, he doesn't have super durability or anything like that, right? So again, I ask, how did he survive this? He was at the epicenter of an explosion that leveled a building. He should be charred soot right now. This also goes for our own Mauler. How come this specific Mauler got only half of his body burned while all the other versions got completely incinerated? It's inconsistent. Secondly, the more important thing here. Right after the explosion, Cecil tells Immortal,
Immortal, check the site for survivors and report back to me.
Understood.
So what the hell, did he just miss them? Or did he only check for survivors hours after he was right at the site? Seems kind of pointless to check for survivors only after you leave them under burning debris for a few hours, instead of, immediately. I have been thoroughly enjoying Invincible, the first and second season. As such, I expect the writing of the show to be top-notch, as it has been in the past and continues to be so now. I merely want to point this out since it's clearly an inciting incident for the series going forward. yet it was handled in such a poor way that it makes me fear that they might have just started to care less about the writing of the show, or have just gotten sloppier overall. I want them to improve as the show goes on. In fact, I expect them to. But if we keep getting moments like this, it might not be the case. I want this show to end with a bang and not a whimper. But that's really everything I have to say on that front. So let me just wrap this up. I'd love to hear what you guys would think of this scene in the comments. Do you like it? And if so, why? I'm not above hearing dissenting opinions. And I would also like to say, I haven't actually read the Invincible comic, so I want to just ask you guys, is this scene just as bad in the comic? Or is it handled differently? Or does it not happen at all? I'd love to know. Plus, I just really like reading my comments section in general, so leave anything you want down there, I don't care. I really want to start getting more into this analytical type of content. You guys really seem to have loved that One Piece live action video, so I aim to please. In addition, if you like this video, feel free to watch some of my other content. I've made videos about Team Fortress 2, Halo, Mortal Kombat, and, the aforementioned live-action One Piece video. I'm really trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, so if you enjoy my content, consider subbing. I'd also like to just quickly apologize for the wait between my videos. But, whatever, you don't care about that. Anyway, enough shilling. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I thank you for watching. See you next time. Peace.